It's the end of the day. It's time to close up shop. However, something tells you to stay back for a bit. For the next hour or two, you'll be staying after hours. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the second edition of the Double After Hours podcast. I'm Aaron Gresser. I'm here with Charles Robison.
Hello.
And you are doing this remote, which is fun.
I am.
Yes. Now, we have a very special topic to cover.
You've read the title.
on this on this wonderful podcast that we are starting. And
do you want to elaborate on it, or do you want me to go into it?
I'll elaborate. I'm just still kind of getting over the fact that I had to rewatch this particular film again on a PS3 because why not?
That was your own choice.
that was my own choice, but it was fun because it's period correct. I think I actually did watch that movie when it first around that time on the PS3. But anyway,
wait, you weren't in theaters day one?
No, I was not. I was
for
four.
An opening night.
I was 4 when this movie came out. That's nuts. I was 4 when this movie came out. Okay, enough rambling. We're talking about Bolt from Disney from 2008. Not Pixar, just Disney.
Yep, just Disney.
This is a just Disney special. And where do we want to start with Bolt?
I guess I want to give a prelude to why the heck we're talking about Bolt. For those of us who know us from our radio show, first of all, hi, thank you for supporting us here. And you guys know that for a while now, as of this recording, we're recording this on March 18th. And we've had a running joke for at least a few months now about Bolt. Yep. About this one highlight that I made a few months ago for the Instagram page.
Yep.
About how this kid became a supervillain because Aaron turned off Bolt at a hospital. That's the whole joke. Yeah. And the only reason Aaron finds it funny is because he used the word fuming, and I say he paints a red X over his Bolt poster.
I don't know.
The only reason.
I don't know what about this highlight is so funny. It just is.
You love it. You eat it up every time. You probably watched it 10 times today in preparation. But
oh, dude, I did everything to prepare for Bolt.
Really? But
I had my pre-Bolt rituals. It's fine.
A pre-game Bolt.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Wouldn't have it any other way.
Oh my god. But anyway, and then the second reason we're kind of going over this, because this is part of why I think this movie is so interesting, just from a historical perspective. For those of y'all who kind of know me, I'm a massive Disney nerd. I don't hide that at all. And I'm a historian in this regard. I love researching these movies, what the heck went into them, who was working on them, and just kind of the cultural context behind why a lot of these things were made. And Bolt was kind of what I believe was the end of a particular era for Disney, like that early 2000s, right after the 90s, kind of the era that we grew up in, Aaron.
Yeah.
Where Pixar was still kind of the reigning champ when it came to animation. DreamWorks was right behind them, and Disney was kind of bronze medal, you know?
Mm-hmm, absolutely.
Well, Pixar was coming out with some of my favorite movies of all time: Incredibles, WALL-E, Ratatouille, and you love Cars. I know you do. Yeah. But and DreamWorks was also coming out with Shrek and Prince of Egypt and a bunch of other stuff. I don't know why I blanked on DreamWorks for a bit. Shark Tale, amazing movie, but iconic in its own right. Maybe we'll do another episode on Shark Tale. Yeah. But
I haven't seen that one in a long time.
God, dude, it's a fever dream. But and then Disney over here, they weren't doing too hot. Their only financially successful movies, if I remember from this period, were Lilo and Stitch, which is my favorite movie of all time.
Yeah.
And Dinosaur, if I remember correctly. And I think Fantasia 2000 did okay. But
wait,
everything
Dinosaur,
else...
what is that one?
It's okay.
That's not the good dinosaur.
That's Pixar. That was like 2013.
That could be another one of these podcasts. It's just talking about.
Dude, it's too boring to talk about.
It's a dinosaur. Yay! He's good.
Yeah, guess what? That's the plot of Dinosaur too. But what was I going? Anyway, the point is that Disney wasn't really, and even though some of these movies we look back very fondly on them, like obviously Emperor's New Groove is amazing, and it was treated harshly by the critics at the time, which they were wrong. That movie's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Meet the Robinsons, I think, is pretty good. Like it's a little dated by some standards, but it's a good time. There's some other stuff in this era too.
I just looked up the poster on the computer down here for dinosaurs. I remember seeing this because it's the poster with the dinosaur making the doofy smile.
Yeah,
that's the thing about this movie that I remember the most was the poster. Just that goofy little grin.
You're speaking to a lot of people right now. But and then near the end of this era was Bolt. And for context on why this movie kind of came out the way it did, because I'm not going to criticize it the whole time. There are some things about this movie I do like. And what makes this movie kind of interesting is that this was during the period where Disney had just bought Pixar, if I remember correctly. Or at least they were finally on good terms with them, which if you want to know more information about that, it's a whole thing. It's very interesting. And they finally were on good terms with Pixar. And one of the lead creatives over there, John Lasseter, who was a big figure behind Toy Story and a ton of other stuff before people found out he just wasn't a great person in the workplace. He was one of the big people in charge of Disney Animation because he was one of the big people that Disney looked at and said, you need to get our studio back on track. And Bolt was kind of one of his first projects in this regard. And do I think he saved the movie? No. But you can tell where a lot of that Pixar influence came from. And we'll get into that into a bit. But I guess to start it off, Aaron, what do we think about this movie now that we're a little removed from it? Because this is our first time watching this movie in like over a decade. Yeah. So, Aaron, I'll let you go because I've been yapping.
No,
but what do you think?
It has been a long time since I've seen this movie. Like I said, coming from the highlight here, I have watched some of the movie at the hospital before I changed the channel. And the kids started fuming, but
for a supervillain origin story started.
Oh yeah, but sitting down and like finally, kind of not being from an older kid's perspective, it's not as bad as I originally thought this movie was, which kind of surprised me. It's like because initially of course I was a little kid. I had no idea what was going on, right? The movie starts out with like it's opening at the pet store.
It's a weird opening.
Yeah, it's a very strange opening. It starts out with the pet store. He's, Bolt's there. He's, playing around in the pen, having a good time with his carrot, and everything's fine. And then he finally meets Penny, right? Yes. Penny shows up, takes him from the thing, and it's all well and good. Then it cuts to black, and then 3, 2, 1, they hit you with action.
Hold on. No, before that, they changed the font of Walt Disney Pictures. It's like Walt Disney Pictures present. It gets all like Michael Bay on you.
Yeah, they make it all very. It's very Mission Impossible kind of. Like,
Michael Bay.
Very Michael Bay. Yeah, very Michael Bay. That's true. And when I saw that as a kid, I was like such a tonal shift. Like, whoa, slow down there, Chief. What's happening? What's going on? And I have to sit back for a little bit. And even nowadays, I kind of had to sit back and say, whoa, that's a spicy transition you got there, buddy. I don't know what is going on there. So it goes into this whole action thing, and it's going. Which is shot
pretty well. Like it's a good sequence.
Yeah, it's not bad at all. And it was enough to keep little me entertained, and but yay. Anyways, it keeps playing through. It's showing all of his superpowers, kind of setting all that up, and then 3, 2, 1. After the big scene with the super bark and all that, it's just everything kind of stops. They take the picture, and then you hear the ring, and it's like, oh, now I kind of get what's going on here. It's all a movie. Or a TV show. It's a production set. This is not real. But I don't know. Just in terms of like little kids watching this, because I mean that's the target demographic, right?
I mean, yeah.
It's when I'm kind of looking at this, it's like, is a little kid really gonna sit down and like realize exactly what's going on when things are like thrown 100 miles an hour like that?
I think to me, because I definitely agree the opening was jarring. I was laughing for most of the opening, actually, just because I totally forgot how this movie opened. So I watched it, I was like, this is a shift. Okay. I've seen classmates in my classes do the exact same thing. But, you know, and I'm watching it and I'm thinking to myself, like, there's not really a lot of foreshadowing to the tonal shift, you know? And I don't even think like having the sequence is bad on its own, but when you start getting to apply the logic, because then we find out, oh, it's all a TV show, and then you start asking the questions, well, how does the dog know how all the special effects work? And there's that scene where like he runs really, really fast throughout the city. Yeah. How did they? And this is kind of where the premise of the movie generally falls apart, in my opinion, and we just got into it. Because the practicality of keeping this dog like in the real world, like, or like in his world, like the Bolt world, if you will.
The Bolt cinematic universe.
The VCU, as it's called in the, you know, that world. But it's definitely like, it's a lot to kind of get in there, because there's that scene with the cats when he's in the RV where they're like messing with him or whatever. And like, you know, aside from unfunny cat banter, you sit there and you go, wait a minute, the cats aren't trained, but the dog is? Wait, like...
I mean... I kind of see that as like, I mean, cats are smart. Don't get me wrong. Like in the real world, cats are pretty smart, and I guess that's kind of what they were trying to play with here. But
like, this movie is so dog biased when it comes to cats. Like,
right.
But anyway,
I don't know that part. That part I did see too, especially when I'm older. When I was a little kid, I was like, "Ah, funny cat." But like, you know, nowadays it's
really, you made that sad noise when you're 5.
I'm just busting out the absolute deepest voice. It's 5-year-old me was a menace. But anyways, but no, it's being a little kid. It was just, you know, haha, funny cat. But nowadays it's like, oh, okay, I completely see what you're talking about. Absolutely. Like, what's going on here? Why is this movie like this? Why is it very dog biased? Why is, you know, who understands who, and you know, you know, who's in the illusion of this is a TV show and not real, and who's not.
Right.
It's very all over the place.
It's, and you know, the movie just kind of never breaks out of that funk where I don't want to go. I guess I'll go into it now, because I watched a lot of behind the scenes and extra stuff and did some research after I watched the movie, just because I love the creative process and I want to know what was going on. And it was interesting because the whole premise of this movie is that the dog thinks he has powers and he doesn't. And the dog doesn't really realize this until, I want to say, 50 minutes in. Like, Bolt doesn't really realize that he is not a super dog until like the midpoint.
Yeah, it's
originally
at the point where it was during the animal control scene.
Yeah,
when he kind of like, you know, before they get caught, you know, Mittens is trying to explain what's going on, and Bolt's not having it, and then slowly it starts to click with him that, oh yeah, I'm just a dog.
Right. And there's actually a deleted scene in the movie that they got rid of, and it also kind of speaks to the tone thing we were talking about earlier, where Bolt didn't initially find out he didn't have powers until the Vegas sequence almost at the very end, like when it's almost 20 minutes left.
Yeah.
And there's this really brutal scene they storyboarded where Bolt gets basically mauled by 2 like adult dogs.
Oh.
Like, it is rough. And you know, like, Disney has a habit of doing this where they take off deleted they take off these kind of scenes and put them on the cutting room floor just because either tonally they don't work or for whatever other reason. And then eventually, like, he gets mauled, and like Mittens and Rhino or whatever like are watching the TV screens in Vegas, and so is Bolt or something. And that's when he finds out that, oh, he has superpowers. And keep in mind, in the original cut of this movie, that's like an hour in.
And wait. Let me just kind of back up here. Hang on.
Yeah.
So they're in Vegas.
Yes.
And Bolt gets mauled.
Yeah, like, he gets beat up by these dogs, but I think he gets like okay enough to walk.
Is there any context for the dogs appearing, or is it just like, oh, they're 2 junkyard dogs? It was the
scene where they were at the dumpster.
Oh, okay.
And like, so they had like the food and like
dogs.
Yeah, they were just strays or whatever.
So then after that, they get mauled, or he gets mauled, and then he walks it off, and then where does he see?
It was like literally around the corner from like the mall side, I guess. Like it was just on the big old TVs at the casinos that like they put on the walls of the building.
Okay, that's wow. Talk about your tonal shift. Like
I know, right?
So just an unnecessary mauling. Is that what we're talking about here?
I don't know. Like it's weird because like in the original cut of this movie too, they have that whole like end a second at breakup thing with Bolt and Mittens. Where like, oh, I don't Mittens. I gotta go see Penny. And Mittens is like, oh, but my owner abandoned me, so that means your owner will too, or whatever.
Those scenes always just make me roll my eyes. I'm like, because it's I see those everywhere, and it's like, can we stop with that trope for a little bit?
The problem is that it wasn't really focused on that much, and then it just came out of nowhere to fill time. So I was like,
right.
But anyway, my point is that keep in mind, right? If this was the original, like this is the cut of the movie they were envisioning, because they did not want to get rid of this dog scene. They did not want to get rid of it, and they eventually settled. This would have happened. Mittens would have eventually abandoned Bolt after he got mauled, like a scene later. And I think that really speaks to the tonal problems that this movie has, and we'll get into some of them a bit later. But basically the whole thesis and why we're kind of doing this is because Bolt is such a wet fart of a movie that just keeps coming back, and that's why it's so funny to us. Like, it's such a weird transitional period movie for this company, and I was looking at online reviews of it before I started this, and Rotten Tomatoes gave it a 90%.
What?
Audience score 78. And dude, I'm sorry, it barely cracks a 6. Okay. But anyway,
Bolt, I've always seen, and this is going to be, I don't think really a hot take. I guess if
a Bolt take
for all the big mega Bolt fans out there, which I don't know if you exist.
The Bolt addicts.
Yeah, the Bolt fanatics. Okay, this is a hot take here. Bolt is a waiting room movie, which is why I saw it in the hospital.
You turned it off.
This is the kind of movie that, like, I don't see this as being, like, a big screen, like, I'm going to go sit down and watch. This is, like, something that, like, just thinking period back in the day, you know, when cable was, you know, just this is something you turn on. It's, like, on. You watch it for a few minutes, and then you move on with your life, or you see it in a waiting room, or it's like, it's on one of those the TVs that nobody cares about. It's like I don't, you know, sitting down and watching this movie, it's like it's a weird experience because this is again, I see this as nothing more than just, oh, I'm watching Bolt. This is the most dollar store movie. And I'm sitting down and spending my precious time to watch this whole movie.
Right. And which really sucks because I did look at a lot of the behind the scenes and features and did some research and all that stuff. And the animators really put in the work here. Like, obviously some of it doesn't hold up that great, like the humans, and some of that stuff just doesn't look amazing. But to be fair, I don't think humans really look that great in a lot of stuff from that era, maybe besides like Shrek. And the animators genuinely, like, they found a way to put their 2D brush strokes that they would use in a normal 2D, like, hand-drawn animated feature into this 3D world. And that's how they animated a lot of the backgrounds and the sets and all that stuff. And they kept raving about the lighting and how they were able to make each environment look distinct. And you can tell, like if I may compliment the movie for a bit, the animation, when it's not, like, human focus, because the animal stuff looks fine, like Bolt and Mittens and Rhino, they're all very expressive, like you get it, like you can definitely tell what they're feeling, which is the point. And there's a lot of that stuff still holds up very well. Like, I still commend Disney for still trying to work in 2D animation in any regard into the 3D stuff, because there's a lot of companies who just straight up don't do that, and it's kind of cool that they found a way to incorporate it in. And you know, like, they didn't talk a lot about the script or the screenwriting process and the features that I watched, and, you know, you can tell.
Right. The other thing is I did enjoy when it was a couple scenes when it's like, when the camera's taken back and you get, like, a wide view. I really like when it's kind of like a painting.
Yeah, that's what they were doing. That was actually painted.
Yeah, I really enjoy that. It's kind of a different kind of contrast from the rest of the movie, but it works. I think it works well. Then you realize you're watching Bolt, and
then you remember you're watching. I have a whole list of plot related things
then you're watching Bolt moments.
Yeah, we covered some of them. We covered the opening. Yeah. I guess one quick joke I'll make is that this kind of felt like Inspector Gadget on a budget. I don't know. I was thinking about that because like there's that scene where like Penny is like, this is just is she literally named Penny from Inspector Gadget? Or am I making that up? But anyway, like I'm sitting there, it's like, oh, this is just Dr. Claw. This is just Inspector Gadget. That's all this is.
Yeah, I mean, I can definitely tell like where some of the inspiration came from, but
I don't know, that was a very quick one. And we kind of mentioned some of it. Like I mentioned the cats thing. We were joking about it before we started, but the boom mic.
Oh yes.
The boom mic.
What was it? Mindy from the network? This is Mindy from the network.
From the network.
It's like, and what angered me actually about this scene, what made me fume about this particular scene.
Oh my god.
Okay, listen, I get he's complaining about the boom mic or whatever, and like, oh, it's gonna ruin the dog's perspective. Okay, first of all, scene he didn't. Yeah, right. It's a mistake. Sure, somebody, that's a quick like, hey, just next time, just make sure you watch where your boom mics are. That done.
Yes. This does very common occurrence.
Right. In production, right? It's just like you don't have to go into a whole big speech rant. Like this whole thing is unnecessary. And in the final cut, you can just zoom it in a little bit, and you'll be fine. It'll cut it right out. It's
right.
Which, of course, I understand for a plot reason, and for movie, trying to put logic to this really is not worth my time, especially since the movie has been out since 2008. So, I don't know if Disney's going to really go back to the original draft and fix the movie to my liking. But
dude, what are you talking about? The Bolt cut is coming to Disney Plus soon. This is their big original.
The revolving door cut. Can't wait.
God, I can't wait for the revolving door script read a Bolt.
Now that's a podcast.
Who gets to be the titular Bolt, Aaron? Who wants to be him?
Whoever can do the best John Travolta impression.
I almost tried, but I almost gave Elvis for no reason. Like I was about to go humana, I'm Bolt. It's like that's not John Travolta.
No, John Travolta's a little bit like this. John Travolta
that's Bill Clinton.
No, this is Bill Clinton.
Hey, Mittens. There's no home like the one you've got, especially the one with Monica. Such a stupid character.
This movie makes you go insane. This movie changes your life.
And one thing that changed my life is that, first of all, the box that Bolt falls into, no holes in the box. That dog should be dead.
Right. Plus, it's like, it's such an easy setup too. It's like, come on,
it's so convenient.
Right? It's too convenient. I get it. It's a kid's. Listen. You're 20. I'm almost 20, and we're sitting here ranting about Bolt. We're trying to put logic to Bolt. But here's the thing, okay? It's too easy. I mean, even some kids were like, wow, really? The kids that actually sat down and watched Bolt all the way through, not just the flipperoos. I'm talking about fully sitting down, committing to Bolt.
Committing. This is your afternoon.
Yes, this is your hour and 36 minutes that you're going to spend with Bolt and Penny and Mittens and Rhino. And that one animal control lady that sprayed the dude in the face with the pepper spray.
Oh, yeah. Well,
that was really
about
funny.
The agent?
With who?
The agent. He's going to put a pin in it, Aaron. It's fine. So the big thing that really stuck out to me is that we mentioned before about Bolt and how there's this whole bit until 50 minutes in where he finally accepts that he doesn't have his powers. But the thing is with this movie is that we have multiple scenes like this whole time before this 50-minute mark where Bolt just like straight up isn't, he isn't gelling. He isn't the super dog he thinks he is. He falls into the manhole, whatever it was. He can't crash through the fence. He can't bend the bars.
He can't break
like,
the lock. There's the U-Haul lock.
Yeah, like there's so many things he can't do. And I'm sitting there just going like, can't you just accept you don't have powers earlier?
Right.
Like, I get it. You don't want to be too quick, but like, I don't know.
And it frustrates viewers. Like, coming from a viewer's perspective, wow, would you look at that? Coming from a viewer's perspective, I'm just sitting there and like, all of this stuff is happening and Mittens the whole time is trying to convince him like, hey, listen, stupid, you don't got powers. I'm sorry, it's the truth. You don't have powers. And she's trying to convince him this entire movie. And it gets to a point where it's just, it's like the movie trope where like two characters are trying, or like two teams of characters, whatever, are trying to like finally meet back up together, and they're in the same spot, conveniently the exact same spot, and then they both miss each other by like a minute.
Yeah.
Those kind of tropes really piss me off because I see them everywhere and it's just annoying.
Right.
This whole thing with like trying to hide this power, like, oh, I still have my powers. I'm Bolt. I'm Bolt. I'm real. I'm John Travolta, and I'm Bolt, and I'm telling you, I got all my powers.
It's not how he sounded. He did an okay job.
I know. I'm trying to do Saturday Night Fever, John Travolta, but it's he's going through this entire thing trying to get it. It just takes too long. It just takes way too long.
Yeah, and like.
We're almost at the end of the movie, and it's, come on. But anyways.
I found it interesting because, as previously mentioned, they originally wanted to reveal the powers like an hour in. And it's like, I'm very happy they changed that, obviously.
Right. Because
that would have been ludicrous. But it's just so weird because I feel like it's not just Bolt who kind of gets hit with the dumb ray, if I may add. Yeah. Because there's so many characters that they're just there's like the pigeons I just did not really particularly enjoy.
Yeah.
I don't know. A couple of the jokes were fine, but like they were just so like, I get their pigeons are not smart, but like they were just so dumb. And they show up all the time or whatever. It's like I don't get it. Like there's the rules about what the animals and animals don't know. I genuinely don't get it. Like, maybe I'm just dumb, but like Mittens is the smart one, obviously. She's the alley cat. She's been around, I guess, whatever.
Yeah.
But like Rhino sits there. Like his whole life at that point was watching Bolt on his TV. But like he didn't know what the TV was. He just thought it was a magic box.
Yeah.
Like what? Like I know like it's a weird comparison. But like because I genuinely forgot what Rhino's character was before I watched it again. And I'm sitting there and I'm just like, he's worshiping Bolt. And I thought, oh, is he in on the joke? Like, is this just an elaborate ruse that this hamster is pulling? Yeah. That'd be kind of interesting. But instead, he just genuinely believes. And I'm like, I mean, it's like endearing in a way. Like, I get what they're going for. Like, and it does work in some regards. Like, his emotional pep talk he gives Bolt before he goes to animal control. Like, that's a good scene. Like, that is a good fleshed out character moment for both of them. Like, I'm not going to disregard that. But it just feels like so many of these characters either just like say unfunny things for half the time or are just kind of stupid to the point where it's like, how do they do things?
My question is, does it come down to a point where are they stupid for marketing? Is this like a stupid sales kind of thing?
Because I don't think so. Because you can market Bolt just on the fact that it's John Travolta voicing a cute dog. You don't need him to be stupid to market him.
No. Or Miley Cyrus.
Well, but she only voiced the girl who is barely in it. We'll get into that. But like...
oh, trust me, we're only 30 minutes in and we've got so much more.
I have so many notes here, people. Yeah. But... and it feels like... I don't want to say like the movie thinks the audience is stupid, but sometimes it does feel that way with just the way that characters kind of traverse from like, because remember they're on like a country like wide mission to get from New York to Hollywood, right? Yeah. And like, how do they know which car goes where? Da 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 da. Like it just feels like they're getting lucky, you know?
Oh yeah, it's very convenient.
There's this bit. It's the scene where like before they get captured by animal control and Rhino's like, I'm going to go get a ladder. So then they get captured by animal control. Rhino comes back, realizes like the truck is leaving. It's like the afternoon when that scene happens. We cut to night, and two big things happen. One, the truck finds out he needs to get gas in the afternoon. It's like low. He's about to run out.
Yeah, he's on like super E.
We cut to night. How is the truck still running? And that's not even my big problem. And the truck is like, he parks in the gas station and Rhino is like right behind it. And I'm sitting there like, he is a hamster. How did he catch that truck?
I mean, maybe just maybe the gas station was like on at the bottom of a hill.
No, but we because there's an establishing shot where the town is like below. Remember?
Yeah, I do remember that. Yes.
Like, that hamster would have had to go at least like 60 to 70 miles per hour, trucking it in that ball to keep pace for hours on end because it goes from the afternoon to night, at least an hour.
Yeah. Like,
my suspension of disbelief can go pretty far. I'm a Disney fan. It's been beaten and bruised over the years, but
worn and used.
It's been worn and used. But I am sorry. I draw the line at the hamster in his hamster ball running at 60 to 70 miles per hour to be right behind this truck.
We are.
Yeah.
I am almost a month away from being 20 years old, and you're 20 years old right now.
I'm already 20.
And we are applying logic to Bolt. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Settling down here.
Yes.
Okay, refresh my memory here.
Yes.
How did Rhino manage to open Bolt's cell on the truck?
On the truck? He unscrewed it or whatever with his like the little teeth or hands or something. I don't know.
But isn't he stuck in the ball the entire time?
No, he got out of the ball.
Okay. But like, how did he get up there? Was that
a hamster? He climbed.
So that was established. That wasn't just he just appeared at the door. It was
he was summoned by Ra, the sun god.
Like,
yeah.
Okay. All right. So I'm just making sure that wasn't a plot hole. Okay. Anyway.
Oh, trust me, there's bigger plot holes to get to.
Okay, moving right along.
I'm looking at my notes, and before I want to get into the other big ones, there's a lot of like, I get it. It's a movie where the dog takes place in Hollywood, so there's a lot of Hollywood jokes, but there is a Cujo reference here, and man, what kid is gonna get that?
I noticed that too, and something I didn't pick up on until I watched it today.
Yeah,
or tonight, rather, I should say. Again, I'm sure that was a joke for the parents, which. I mean, Disney has their fair share of adult jokes here and there.
Of course.
I mean, you gotta keep mom and dad enjoying it. They want to be sitting down watching CNN, but they're sitting there watching Bolt. Some of them do.
They don't want to watch BNN Bolt News now.
I can't wait for the Bolt News Network.
Can't wait for the Bolt theme park.
A division of Revolving Door Media.
Jeez.
Dude, we are going to be the ones to start the Bolt News Network.
Dude, the Bolt solution is coming, and we're going to be the leaders.
Oh, yeah. Dude, if we do not create the petition for Bolt 2...
They're not going to make it, dude.
Where's Bolt 2? I want it.
Dude, we are living in an age where people are genuinely starting to get frustrated with sequels and remakes, and we're over here pitching Bolt 2 in the year of our Lord 2024.
But here's the thing, okay? Yeah. We don't need a remake of Little Mermaid. We don't need a remake of Lion King. We don't need... What's the other movies that's coming out? What was the other Disney remakes?
There's a lot. There's Beauty and the Beast. There's Aladdin. There's Pete's Dragon. That was another one. Cinderella.
Don't need it.
What? There's Leading the Tramp that came out a few years ago.
Nope.
There's a lot of them.
Yeah, don't need them. Don't need them. Gone. Skedaddle away. Be gone, you filthy movies. Behold, Bolt 2. Instant classic. Direct to DVD, or I should say probably Blu-ray now, but
Disney Plus, actually.
Disney Plus, yeah. Is Disney actually, are they still doing physical media, or are they dropping that?
They, for the Marvel stuff, they are. They just released Ultra 4K Blu-rays of Moon Knight and Falcon and Winter Soldier. Okay. But generally, if you're not like a big Marvel release or a Star Wars thing or like a big blockbuster thing that people like, they'd advertise a lot, you're not really getting a physical release. They actually shut down their physical production for Blu-rays and CDs in Australia already. Wow. And that was a few months ago of recording this. So they're trying to steer clear.
Which is really sad. I mean, that's a whole nother podcast topic about physical media and how it should not go away. But right,
but Bolt, on the topic of that, Bolt did very well in DVD sales. So,
no, I believe it. I believe it. Because it was sold to all the waiting rooms, so they could put it in their shoddy DVD player, their DVD TV combo, and let it run 24 hours.
You're never gonna get off this DVD train, are you?
Listen. There is probably out there in the world, and slim chance that he or she will be listening to this, but there is probably some store clerk that has seen Bolt and has a world record for the amount of times they've seen Bolt just because it was on in a waiting room. I want to meet them. They will be on this podcast.
Will they be singing the "There Is No Home Like the One We Got"?
That's a whole nother topic here, but
oh my god,
that was another thing too, was just the lack of like, I mean the score, I guess,
some of it was cool,
it was fine, but like song wise, I don't know, like not score wise, but like song wise,
soundtrack and like the score are two very separate things.
I don't know. I feel there was a lot more that could have been done with that. Was it a small budget movie?
I mean, it was made in 18 months, and the normal animated movie takes like 3 years to make in terms of production. And let me check the budget real quick. Hold on. I actually don't have this.
Explains a lot.
I wish I had this memorized. Hold on. Bolt movie budget. $150 million in 2008.
Wow.
It was an expense. That's an expensive movie.
And okay, I'm going to be completely honest here. Some of the and this is probably just a me thing, but I'm just going to say it anyway. I don't know. That movie, some scenes in that movie just looked very, very incomplete. And maybe that's just a me thing. Maybe I'm not seeing like the artistic direction with it. But I don't know. I just felt like most of that movie looked very rough.
I think it comes down to lighting and shading.
Yeah.
Like that is your big thing. Like there's actually a ton of like movies and games and TV shows that also have the exact same issue where they might not have the biggest budget in the world, but if you have a unique artistic style, you can kind of get around it. Spider-Verse, for example. The first like Spider-Verse movie, I think, Across the Spider-Verse only had a budget of $100 million. Elemental, the recent Pixar movie, $200 million. Which is the better looking movie? I know which one I'm choosing.
Oh, of course.
It's Spider-Verse.
Of course.
And all that's because of the unique lighting and shading and character design and all that fun stuff.
I mean,
I'm not going to sit here and say that like
too. I mean, the thing with the frame rate difference and everything to make it like a comic book feel, and to show tones. I mean, it was. I know I neglected to watch that movie for a long time, but when I actually sat down and watched that movie, it was incredible. I mean, visually, it's eye candy. It's great. I loved it.
Yeah.
But anyways,
do you understand why it's my favorite superhero movie now? But anyway,
right.
My point originally is that your budget isn't necessarily what's going to define you. It can hurt you in some regards, sure, but you can get around it if you have unique lighting and shading. Disney's even faced this same problem before. Like 101 Dalmatians also had a low budget compared to some of Disney's other works, but they were able to get around it by having a really unique style that still people recognize today.
Yeah.
And revolutionized a lot of animation techniques that they would use to save money. And the thing with Bolts is that when they actually like some of the shading and lighting in the movie does look really good. Like when they're kind of going, they have that sequence where they're going through the country. There's some of those scenes that are lit very well. Mm-hmm. And some of the painting stuff that they do with some of the backgrounds, like they look great. Like there is clearly effort put in here. But when you give a full team of animators only 18 months to do a movie that probably would have taken 3 years to do, like if you didn't overwork them, there's naturally going to be some corners cut. And I think you can really tell with the humans, like, granted, again, humans didn't look amazing back then, but even something like The Incredibles, which came out in 2004, looks leagues better with the human animation than Bolt. I did notice, and just throw this in here, I did notice that, like, in the start of the movie, things looked kind of rough. When it kind of got towards the end, it seemed to be like an upward slope. Yeah.
And it kind of got a little better every minute. And then eventually it looked fine to me, at least towards the end. So I'm not saying the whole movie was like very rough, but like it just, for whatever reason, I don't know. It's from start to finish, it went from to okay. Yeah, I watched Bolt.
It went from a wet fart to just an inconvenience. But anyway, yeah, this movie's animation is really, like, again, like specifically with Penny's mom, I don't know what they did to her, but wow, she looks rough in some scenes.
Yeah, it does.
Like, I don't know if they didn't render it fully or they just didn't light it properly, but it just looked a little whack.
I mean, when you have 18 months to work with here.
Right. But to be fair, Toy Story 2 had 9.
Didn't they lose half that movie?
More than that, actually, but they saved it.
They saved it, right, but...
Keep in mind, Toy Story 2 had 9. And what I mean by 9 is that they storyboarded and rewrote it in a weekend. And from that point on, it was go, 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 go.
And it looked great. I mean, Toy Story 2.
It still looks great today.
Yeah, no, it still holds up. Toy Story 1? Not so much. But
oh, yeah, like Sid looks like a gremlin.
Hey, what you gonna do? It's 1995, you have an Apple Mac, and what are you gonna do? And a dream.
No, they had the Pixar computers.
What do they have?
They had the Pixar computers, because that was their thing.
Yeah, but didn't Steve Jobs help out on that movie?
Well, yeah, he did, because he financially aided Pixar. He was kind of the reason they were kept afloat for so long.
Oh, Steve Jobs. What a guy. Anyways, that has nothing to do with this.
That's the whole thing. But,
yeah, that's a whole other podcast. But
in terms of getting back to my notes here, because we got a little distracted.
No, it's okay. We're having good banter. It's fine.
Exactly. Do we want to just jump in? Because we've covered a lot of things I was talking about with the out of place jokes. Do you want to just get into like the ending very quickly?
Oh, yes. Yes, I would.
I think we got time.
Okay. Oh, yeah. We're only like 44 minutes in. We're good. We're good. So, the ending of the movie.
Yes.
There's so Bolt's back, right? He is
Bolt's back.
Dude, that is the tagline for Bolt 2. But
Bolt's back. He didn't say it.
Dude, AC/DC doing the entire Bolt soundtrack. I can't wait.
ACBC.
ACBC. Can't wait. But anyways, so Bolt's back, right? He's back in town. The Bolt is back in town. He's back at the studio.
Philadelphia freedom.
Bolt Philadelphia freedom. So AC/DC, Elton John. Who are we getting for the Bolt 2 soundtrack, dude?
Paramore.
To sing their all-time classic Bolt, Bolt, Bolt.
No, it's gonna be Ain't It Bolt.
Ain't It Bolt. Misery Bolt.
Oh my god, I can't. Oh no, because Paramore is not relevant anymore. I mean, I still like them, but like, are they trending any? Not really.
Yeah, they still got new albums. They're getting.
I know, but like, do people still know about Paramore?
Yes.
Are they?
Yeah, Paramore's still pretty relevant. Hayley Williams is not quite in the shadows yet.
Okay, because my brain was like, is Paramore too niche for Disney to look at and go yes? But
no, I mean they'd probably get a Taylor's version of There Is No Home, like the one we've got. Bolt's version, right? Exactly.
God,
give me that now.
When's the Bolt Eras tour?
I can't wait. I will be there at every single tour date. Anyways. Getting back on topic here, because this is what happens in the podcast. It's like this is the double ADD podcast.
Yeah.
Anyways, actually more ADHD than anything else. But so Bolt's back, and I've said this like 5 times now. Bolt is back, and
it's so funny to me. I don't know why.
It is really funny. So he sees Penny, and Penny's calling out to him. He's like, "Bolt, yes. I missed you. Oh my gosh, I thought you died." But so he, and then Bolt's coming up, and then realizes there's a double Bolt. For those who haven't seen the movie, there's a double Bolt, and the agent gets him. It's like the replacement. He's like, "Oh, I found Bolt," and she's like, "Oh, that's not Bolt," and he goes, "Yeah, I know," which is like, wow, dude, great, good.
That's kind of funny though.
I'm telling, the agent was the best part of that movie. But
I love I unironically like, let's put a pin in it. I don't know why. I was like, that was funny.
Yeah, that was a really good running bit.
It's a slimy thing for him to say, but like it worked.
Oh, of course. So, this is the double Bolt. So she's calling out so flash forward. This happens like at the middle of the movie. So
no, this is like middle. Oh, you're thinking of this scene. Sorry. No,
the part where the double Bolt actually appears. Yeah. So again, getting back to the ending here. So the double Bolt, she's it's a fake out. It's a fake out ending, right? It's like, they're finally reuniting, yay, but no, it's not. So Bolt gets all disappointed and he leaves. So the double Bolt is, flash forward a little bit, there's some crap that happens in between that's not really important. And so they're doing this big scene where they're like in this like Aztec like temple kind of thing going.
Yeah, backlot set thing.
Yeah, it's I mean it was presented pretty
cool.
Well. Right. So the green-eyed man is, he's doing his thing, and like he's got Penny's mom or Penny's dad,
Dr. Calico.
Yeah, Dr. Calico. And so he's got him locked up, and Penny's falling down from the ceiling. So double Bolt comes in, and he gets like the green-eyed man's like, "Oh, go get him, minions," and he's going after him, and double Bolt gets scared. He kind of drops the illusion of like, "Oh, I'm super, I got powers and I can do all this cool stuff." That's like gone. He turns into like cowardly chihuahua, scared.
Yeah.
And so he ends up jumping off, or he slips off, I should say. He slips off, he knocks over one of the torches. The whole place goes ablaze. Penny finally, she cuts her thing and she can't find her way out. The whole gang comes back, it's the whole thing. There's the fire, and real Bolt comes back in, saves her, kind of being nearby, does the super bark through the vent, and la-di-da-di-da, that's pretty much that. And then
like the firefighters find their way because of the bark, and then like, oh, they save them.
And then instant flashbang. I don't know why the movie decided to just give a flashbang right in the middle of that entire predicament, which was awful. But that is one of my biggest critiques of that movie, is that flashbang that just happens out of nowhere. But the thing that gets me is like the agent comes in to they're in the back of the ambulance. The agent comes in there. He's like feeling sympathy, and then he's like, "Oh, we can make all this covers and stuff." Mom kicks him out. And he's like trying to save everything. Let's put a pin in it. And then she's like, "We quit." And then that's it.
It's over.
And then it's over. Here's what pisses me off about that, right? Okay.
Yes.
You're in a production studio. You are doing this very successful TV show, right? I assume it's successful, right?
Well, yeah, because like that's on all the buses and like it's been shown.
Right. I mean, despite what Mindy from the network says, you know, it's. I assume in the Bolt cinematic universe, Bolt is doing pretty good.
Yeah,
and
I mean, people know him.
And you're just gonna up and quit like that. And I assume it's a high-paying job, very high-paying job.
Sure. I mean, I'm assuming the most popular show in the world at this point. So
right. And you're gonna give up on that? All because your agent wants to put a pin in. Here's the thing. Get a new agent.
Yeah.
You don't got to quit the show. You don't got to quit doing this. You are stopping a massive cash flow in your life. A chance to make millions of dollars. And you're just going to throw that all away right at the end of the movie. Just so you can wrap it up, quote unquote, wrap it up by going to some farmhouse and, you know, having the rest of the movie. And also there's pigeons at the farmhouse, which... that also doesn't make sense, but, you know, that part just really got to me. I don't know why. It just really, really did.
I think it's not because I think this is out of character for the agent, because we've been shown earlier in the movie that he is slimy. Like, there was that bit where Bolt was still lost, where he's like, "Oh, I got you for the Tonight Show," and I'm like, "Dude, really?" And he's like, "Oh man, but the Tonight Show, though," you know, like he's trying to work. It's a funny scene.
He's like, "Oh, it's the Tonight Show. Who cares?" He's just trying to play it off.
Like the pin in it bit, I love this bit. It's so funny. But
yeah,
my original train of thought was that we never really learn why they're doing this show in the first place. You know?
Yeah.
Like that's always been the like. I'm like 10 minutes and I'm like, oh god, I don't know why Penny and her mom are doing this. Are they actors? Do they love it? Was their dad like? Where's their dad? I don't know. Dead, I guess.
My reaction was, oh god, I'm watching Bolt.
As is 90% of the U.S. But me, a Bolt connoisseur, if you will, I ask the deep questions.
Yeah, Bolt connoisseur, not the cable connoisseur. That's another bit from the show. But, no, we're Bolt connoisseurs now.
Yes, but as the Bolt bacteria infected everyone else's brain except for me, I was just kind of wondering, like, I'm 10 or 15 minutes in, and I still have no idea why our main, like. And that's generally a problem this movie has. Like, it just does not care about Penny and her mom. Like, the whole movie is built on Bolt and her's bond. Like, the first scene, Bolt's a cute little doggy, and Penny is her friend. Boom, Michael Bay scene. Like, yeah. I guess I would have liked to see more scenes of just, I don't know, Penny and her mom, like, existing. Because Penny's mom has nothing to do.
No, like, she's very just there.
And it's frustrating because it's like, I felt like we wasted too much time on Bolt power shenanigans. And it's like, I would have liked to see more of why the heck Penny and her mom are doing this. Are they getting blackmailed for some reason? Do they not have, does Penny's mom not have a degree? Is Penny in school? Like, there's so many questions I have here about why they're in this predicament and why they're so comfortable with quitting. And I know this isn't the main focus of the movie. It's on Bolt. I get it.
Of course.
But you need to think
when care about you dog. Ooh, dog. Yeah.
But when you're writing a movie like this, and this is your big thesis statement, is that this is the biggest show in the world, and to your point, they just quit it instead of getting a new agent. Why? Like, again, like, are they I don't know. Like, there's something a bit there where I felt like I didn't see that bond really between Penny and Bolt and the mom and this whole circumstance. Like, I don't know why they're there. You know? Yeah, no, it's... And I personally, I think that matters when it comes to a script like this, because if they don't care why they're there besides the dog, then why do we care? You know? Right. Yeah, because Bolt is the, like you said, main focus of the movie, but there's... It's like trying to build a house of cards on water. Like, that's not going to work. You have to have some kind of foundation to be able to build off of that. Right. And it's not even to say this movie is like terrible at establishing information and like not just expository ways. Like, again, like you said earlier in the podcast, we got that whole action sequence where we get to see all of Bolt's powers and all that stuff. Yeah. And that was fine. Like, we learned a bit about the show and how it works. Like, sure, it felt a little expository, but, like, it was tongue-in-cheek. It was fine.
Yeah. And
I don't know. And part of me was just a little miffed because I felt like I didn't really get to learn as much about these characters as I would have liked to. Because, again, I don't want to hate these characters. I really don't. I want to like Penny. I want to like Hannah Montana shoe-in girl. Or whatever, because she's voiced by Miley Cyrus when Hannah Montana was still a thing.
Hannah Bolt.
Because it's too Hannah Bolt. God, I wish. But
now that is the crossover. Bring it.
Yeah, all I have to do is get Miley Cyrus.
Exactly. What is she doing now?
I don't know. What is she?
just existing.
Watching
somewhere.
Bolt.
Watching Bolt. Realizing that she did Bolt.
She's barely it. She doesn't care.
Dude, I bet John Travolta has a picture of Bolt above his bed that he looks at every night.
Does he fume over it?
No, I don't think he fumes over it because we've already like established that he's pretty proud of it.
Yeah, instead he sulks because he wishes he could do more.
He sulks because he wishes he could do more Bolt?
Yeah, dude. He was promised a Bolt cinematic universe of crossovers and spin-offs, but instead he only got the one.
Well, this just sounds like sequel material. Get him back. John Travolta, we want you back for Bolt 2.
Listen, you call it Bolts. He has a dog. He has a son.
Bolts.
Yeah, because it's like aliens. It's aliens, Bolt, and Bolts.
Yeah.
It's the best sequel title I could think of just now. Accept it. But
yeah, it'll be fine.
Let me look at my notes real quick because we actually hit on a lot of the points
I think
that I was thinking about.
I hope John Travolta is still proud of Bolt.
Let's ask him right now.
Listen, if we could get him, we could find him, like message him on like Instagram or Facebook or something. Just message him.
We could bag him, put him in a truck, ship him to a discreet location, and ask him about Bolt. I'm sure we get an answer.
Put him in some packing peanuts.
Dude, that bit was weird.
Yeah, that was another thing too. It's like, I don't know. But again, that also ties into the whole, does he know it's real? No. Does he think it's real? Yeah.
It's just really dragging its feet for that part of it. Because once we get over it not being real, the movie does become more watchable. But it's that whole, like, bit where it's like you've been beat up like for 40 minutes realizing you're not a super dog.
And you're just beating the audience too. You're just absolutely just
the hint.
Like just I want to know what the Bolt theater experience was like.
Like sitting down in an AMC just going yep.
Sitting down in an AMC circa 2008, the classic generation, the old school AMC, the way I remember it.
Yeah.
Sitting down in that theater and realizing I just paid however much it was, like I think it was like $6 back then.
Yeah.
To watch Bolt.
Wouldn't you?
Absolutely, I would. I paid like $2 for the DVD at Walmart bargain bin. So,
I didn't.
Back in like 2000, I think it was like 2010 or 2009 or something. But yeah. Anything? Did you have anything else on your points list? We kind of rambled about John Travolta for a little bit.
Not particularly, but one thing that I did kind of mention earlier is that this movie kind of happened at a very transitional period for Disney. And you can really tell. Like, it's not the greatest movie they've ever produced. Do I think it's the worst? No. I don't even think it's really close to that. Mm-hmm. Like, as much as we made fun of it, and as much as some of the characters kind of annoy me, it isn't anything particularly offensive. But I think that's why, at the end of the day, Bolt really hasn't left a mark, ironically, Like, right. When people are asked their favorite Disney movies, like, not even, like, of all time, but just, like, when you think top 10, right? Bolt doesn't show up that much. Like, you get your obvious answers. You get your Lion Kings, your Encantos, your Frozens, your all these other movies and all that stuff, like stuff that, is very popular.
Yeah.
But Bolt, like even like some of like if you're weirdos like me and you're like have stuff like Atlantis, the Lost Empire, and Treasure Planet on there, like 2 movies from this exact same era that I'd argue are very good.
Home on the Range.
I'll hurt you.
We don't talk about Home on the Range. We don't talk
want to listen. I would like begrudgingly watch Bolt for. I'm not watching Home on the Range, Aaron. You're not making me. No. You're not gonna do it.
Coming soon to the Double After Hours podcast. A whole hour talking about Home on the Range.
Talk about how Roseanne voiced a cow. Wasn't that goofy? But
oh, Disney. Anyway,
yeah, I think that was like their last of this era, if I remember correctly.
Was Bolt or Home on the Range?
Home on the Range came out in 2004.
Oh.
It was in the exact middle. Because this, oh, you know what? I remember now. Because Home on the Range came out in 2004. And that was when Disney officially wanted to pull the plug on theatrical 2D animation. Like, that was the limit. It was over.
It was over.
But I think, hold on. Because, yeah, like, and we get Bolt in 2008. And then we got Princess and the Frog in 2009.
That was 2009?
Yeah. That was kind of, if you don't count the Winnie the Pooh 2D movie that came out in 2011, like Disney's last big 2D theatrical feature.
Yeah, I wouldn't consider the Winnie the Pooh to be a big release.
Yeah, but like...
Wow, that was... That, again, feels like another, like, 2002, 2003 kind of release.
And maybe that just kind of speaks to how behind Disney was at this point, which... You know, again, like I mentioned earlier, Pixar was still at the top of their game here. In 2000, like, what was it? We just said, what was this, 2008?
Yeah.
When Bolt came out or whatever?
Yep, 2000.
Do you want to know what Pixar released in 2008? Would you like to know?
It wasn't Up. That was 2009.
Right. It was WALL-E.
WALL-E, that's right. I thought that was 2007.
No, WALL-E was 2008. 2007 was Ratatouille.
That's right. It was Ratatouille. What a classic.
It's a great movie. But anyway, again, and like you're sitting over here with Pixar making revolutionary works of fiction that are going to define moviegoers for decades that still really can't be quantified even today.
Oh, of course.
And you're making John Travolta dog movie.
Oh, man.
But it just kind of shows how much Disney needed Pixar to kind of get their animation studio back on track, and now they're both in a position of kind of being weird.
Yeah,
like it is kind of funny how history repeated itself, because you know, after Bolt, during the 2010s, Disney generally kind of got themselves back on track. They came out with Tangled, Frozen, Big Hero 6, Zootopia, Moana, a ton of other stuff. And then the 2020s, they weren't doing, they're not doing too great so far, Aaron.
Yeah.
Like, the only big one they had in the 2020s was Encanto. And granted, Encanto, very good movie. But its box office wasn't great. It only did really well because of streaming.
Yeah, and that's kind of a trend I've seen. I mean, of course, with the world, at least, you know, as of this recording, still being, like... I would love to imagine historians later in the world finding this podcast, but you know, trying to study our world by listening to us talk about Bolt. But God,
I wish.
But you know, just being with the way the world is nowadays, and you know, compared to way back then, that doesn't surprise me at all. I mean, just being me, I rarely get out much. You know,
just ever.
Really ever, other than work, which I mean, I work a lot. Personal thing here. I work a lot, 7 days a week. Let's go. Never get a break. But it's. I kind of hate that, because I mean, the big screen movie experience. This is a whole nother podcast right here, but. The big screen experience, I don't think can be replicated on.
It can't, yeah.
On your like 40-inch LG TV. Like it's not how that works. I think we need to get the gang together for a Bolt watch party at a theater.
We gotta rent out the theater for Bolt.
Yes. I want to see Bolt on the big screen. I want to see how this movie was intended to be seen.
Nah, dude. If we're renting at a theater, we're watching something way worse than Bolt.
Ratatouille. I think a great podcast, and this may be one in the future. I'm not sure. Just an idea thrown out here. Bootleg movies.
That'd be fun.
I think bootleg movies would be awesome.
Listen, Shark Tale's always on the table, Aaron.
No, I know Shark Tale's definitely on the table.
Will Smith fish is always available to be talked about. Yeah?
Why was that a movie? Why was that a movie?
Why was it in a movie earlier?
Sooner?
Yeah, dude.
This should have rivaled Toy Story. 1995 should have been right there in theaters.
Shark Tale.
I think DreamWorks really was like at the top of their game around that era. Like, kinda. I mean, you had Shrek. I mean, Shrek was good. When was Shark Tale? When did that come out?
That was 2004.
Yeah. So yeah, we're still talking like Shrek, Shrek 2, Shrek. We don't talk about the third one.
Shrek 4 was pretty good.
Yeah, Shrek 4 was good. Then there was that weird live action. Do you remember that one? Do you remember the live action Shrek?
Are you thinking of Shrek the Musical?
Maybe. It's the one where it's live action and it's weird, and I didn't like it, and my parents put it on one time. Personal story here. This will make
We're so not talking about Bolt at this point.
Oh, of course. Just getting a little off track here, but my parents put this movie on. I remember this specifically. My parents put this movie on one time. I guess I don't know if it was on TV or something, or I really don't remember what the context was, but they put this on and it was like right around the middle, and I remember sitting there as a little kid wondering what the hockey sticks is going on here. This is a family show. We don't say funny words. I'm sitting there trying to comprehend what is going on, because it's like mind warping.
Shrek's a cartoon. He can't be real. Back to my original point is that Bolt really hasn't left a massive impact on the pop culture zeitgeist, because you talk about your favorite Disney and Pixar movies, and Pixar isn't really Bolt isn't in that very conversation very often.
No.
Who almost touched a nerve there. But Pixar, they suck. Never made anything good.
Yeah.
Pixar's best movie, Turbo, probably. I don't know.
Turbo. Oh dear God, that's another podcast.
Yeah. But
I haven't seen that movie in a long time.
I haven't seen Turbo in a minute. But my point is that Bolt may not have left an impact in terms of its own.
No.
But it was a very important step for eventually getting us to the period where Disney kind of knew what they were doing in the 2010s. And then in the 2020s, they went right back to being confused. And then Pixar went confused with them. Well, they've been confused since, I don't know. When did Cars 2 come out?
2012. No, was it 2013?
No, it was 2013.
2013. That was close.
Yeah, Pixar's been confused ever since. But, and that's not a joke. I mean, look at their lineup, man.
Okay. I know exactly how to fix this issue.
Yeah, Bolt 2.
Yeah.
That'll be that's the next transitional period.
Yes.
Every single Disney animated transition now between era just needs Bolt. Fix it.
I don't see the harm in it.
Well, you heard it here first, folks. Bob Iger, I know you're listening. If you're ever I know, because you're very concerned about the state of the company right now. You got a lot of things to work on before you can retire officially this time.
Yeah.
But I think
how many times has he come back?
This is his first time he's really come back, because he didn't think he had to before Chapek messed everything up, because Iger was kind of goofy in the first place and Chapek made it work. But anyway, that's just I could go on and on about that. That's a discussion that's a podcast for another day. But Bolt was an important step to where we are now when it comes to animation. Mm-hmm. Do I think it's the best movie of all time? No. Do I think it's the worst movie of all time? No. Did we make this entire episode because we had this running bit on the radio show where we kept fuming about Bolt? Yes.
Yes.
And here we are now.
And here we are at It is now 12:32 a.m. at the time of this recording. For me, for you, it's only
it's 11:32.
But still, and here we are, fuming about Bolt, finally making the dream come true. I
think that's the way you have to end it, isn't it?
I think so. So I hope you've enjoyed this. More great material like this on the way. We got
more Bolt-tastic content.
Oh, very much so. We've got a lot more ideas for what we want to do with this, and moving forward, what's going to happen with it.
Yeah, this has been like a fun little. Like, in terms of ideas we've had for the podcast, Bolt, for some reason, has been the number one of our priority list in terms of the episodes we want to release first. And Bolt's number 2. Number 1's the introduction. Can't wait for you guys to listen to number 3. Because this whole weird podcast thing has kind of been my creative baby in terms of what episodes we're doing. Right. And it's been fun. So can't wait for you to get better. And I'm Charlie Robinson, and I don't know if I'll be on the next episode, but I'll see you next time.
Yeah, and I'm Aaron Gresser. I'll probably be there. Maybe. Never know. I might disappear. I might...
like Bolt.
I might, just like Bolt. Going away, get lost in New York, talk to a cat, and...
Cat was home alone.
Find my way back. Yeah, that is just... Man, Bolt stole from everybody. Jeez.
Yeah, Bolt was a freaking thief. Put him down. Wasn't doing anything.
Dude, you gotta... No. You can't kill him off yet. You gotta keep him alive for Bolt 2. John Travolta's...
No, that's why it's called Bolts, because it's his son. You can kill him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you can have it just be like the original Bolt, where it's all about Bolt being an absent father, just like how Penny had an absent father.
Yeah, that's true.
It's about Bolt's mom getting ignored for the main character.
Yeah. What a movie.
I don't know, what can we call him? Bolt Jr.? Bolt? Just Bolt again?
Just Bolt again?
Here is your son, Bolt again.
That's what I want to call him, Bolt again.
There's no more juniors anymore. There's just again.
Bolt the Mulligan. Oh, Lord.
Oh my god. Can I get a mulligan on this child?
Oh yeah. One more time around. We made some mistakes in the first one. We're going to clean them up in the next one. It'll be fun.
Listen, honey, you're going to have to rebirth them. I know that's not exactly on your bucket list, but we kind of messed up the first time.
Yeah, we got to do a little redux. It'll be fine.
9 more months. That's it.
Yep. But anyways, we'll catch you in the next one. God bless. Have a good one. Take care. Goodbye. Thank you for listening to the Double After Hours podcast. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. Be sure to check out our social media pages on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. I'm Aaron Gresser, and thanks for staying after hours.